This green box just arrived from Russia, and what's inside is incredible. This green box contains the finest knife sharpening system that I've ever seen. We're going to pull out the pieces here. There's about 6 main pieces. We'll put it together really quickly, and then we'll talk a little bit about this and why this, for me, has been so life-changing. I don't know about you. I mean, a lot of people claim to be able to sharpen knives freehand and have had really good luck. Or same thing goes with chainsaws. You know, I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't need a sharpening jig. I can sharpen it myself, or I can sharpen it better without that. And sharpening, whether it be a chainsaw or whether it be knife blades, is all about consistency. And the thing you can't get unless you really, really practice is consistency. So for the rest of us, for the mere mortals who would really like to have sharp knives with no fuss, this is an answer to prayer. So we'll start with the base unit. Heavy duty, solid steel, comes with rubber feet on it, doesn't move around. This thing weighs several pounds. And this is how you secure the main vise section. So how did I come about this? So I have a subscriber in Russia. His name was Paul, and he is the inventor and, as far as I know, the builder of this machinist. And he sent me an email, contacted me and said, hey, I just watched your video on the Edge Pro Apex. You know, years ago we did a tour of that facility, and that's a good sharpener, but I have something that I'm building that I think you might even like better. And so he said, ask if he could send one. And, you know, I get requests for things like that all the time. And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. I didn't think too much of it. I'm always looking for a better way to sharpen knives. It's just been something that I've had so much trouble with. And when it arrived, I started to play with it and put it together. And I had so much fun with it last night that all the knives in my house, I stayed up late and sharpened all Mrs. Wranglerstar's kitchen knives with success that I've never had before. It just had, for me, is a game changer, just a life-changing tool that I'm just thrilled with it. In addition to the sharpening tool, Paul's provided a really nice set of sharpening stones. It's a set of 5, starting from coarse to super fine. We have here, the numbers I rubbed them off, but somewhere around like probably a 300. We've got a 220, excuse me, that must be like a 150. Our super coarse 400, 600, and then finishing up with a super fine 1000 grit. I'm going to start off with showing you my favorite part here. It's this locking, detented, brilliant detented flipping mechanism. This way we're flipping our knife. I'll show you how the jaws and everything mount into it. But look at the heaviness, look at the robustness of the design. Cage roller bearings located inside there, an adjustment screw here. Big heavy knurled screw that adjusts how much you want. You have a big heavy knife or a machete, you want that to hold firmer as you get out here on the edges. You don't want this moving, but absolutely, positively locks up. Listen to the detents. I've got to show you what's behind the scenes of that beautiful detail. Look at that. I mean, if you're a machinist, tell me you're not impressed with that. Look at these little roller bearings that rotate around smooth as butter with a spring steel kind of a cross on there, all welded in there. Look at the machining that went involved in that. Look at these little bearings, sealed bearings rotating in there, and then they snap into place. Absolutely consistent every time. Delightful to use. And the base is heavy enough. You can see here that as I'm flipping these, and I've got them set pretty tight, no movement. I'll bet I played with this for 15 minutes last night. Well, still playing with it right now. Look, just look at that. Equally impressive to me are the locking jaws. These are machined, guys. Every piece in here is machined, and if it's not stainless steel, it's Parkerized. This is not something cast or stamped out. This is something that is high quality right here. This is these are works of art. The reason why there's 3 of them is that this is going to be for your small blade. This one here is just a single clamp. That's going to be your EDC blade. You're just probably something like to 4 inches. But you want to do something like me, I've got, this is Mrs. W's Cutco kitchen knife. This is her main chef's knife, and it's never been sharp. Well, it came sharp, but I never have the ability to sharpen this. I mean, I've tried, and usually after much aggravation, I end up with a worse than it was before. And I'm ashamed to say that, I've had so much trouble sharpening these knives that, we'll use them for 5 or 6 years and they're just dull. And finally, sometimes I just go and buy another one. It's a sad state. And a fine knife like this, it should be working properly. And I always feel a little less than a man when my wife asks me to sharpen her chef knives, and I try and I get them back in there. She never says anything, but she's always disappointed. But that's what these are for. That way we can spread that out a bit on the big knives. Right there you can get, you don't want to try to sharpen a knife in a small clamp like that, but you can do the big ones as well. So I'll show you how these mount to the system. Again, another beautifully elegant mounting design, very simple, very robust, very consistent. Look at the size of those big stop pins in there. Right there, those black Parkerized pins with the big adjustable knobs. So we'll just center that on there. And those are a tight press fit, like that. I mean, that would work in there even if you didn't put the mounting screws in there. And they'll be secured here by these big knurled knobs, with the threaded rod on them. So to adjust the clamp, it's just secured with these little Allen screws. We've got 2 in the front and we've got 1 in the back. And the reason why is you need to be able to adjust for different thicknesses of knives. And just a little attention to details like the spring steel on the back that force the jaws open. So you're not having to try to pinch the jaws in there when you're sharpening. And it even seems to hold knives that are really have a lot of strange profiles in them, like my 940 here, which is because of this little backing thing can be exceedingly difficult to try to mount in any type of a clamp. I mean, I tried to sharpen this on the Edge Pro Apex, which I'm not a big fan of that mounting system where you have to kind of balance it. But here, simply tighten these down here. I can even adjust the back. It seems like it's pretty well adjusted there. And right there, this is absolutely rock solid. So the sharpening arm has a lot of clever features to it as well. It's infinitely adjustable, meaning there's an adjustment screw here with this brass set screw, as well as a knurled knob where you can change the direction to whatever you want. And you can see right here we have our angle gauge. Kitchen knives, we know, should be around 20 degrees or so. EDC pocket knives, it varies, but I like to do them around 25. It makes it very simple, no guesswork. I like the way the stones marry up to the sharpening arm as well. As you can see right there, those stones are on there with an adhesive, and the small dovetails there on the aluminum, you simply grab the sharpening knob there with your fingers. There's a spring. Once you get it set, you pull that spring back there, lay it in there, and it's captured right there in the sharpening. And when I want to change, when I first looked at this and I saw, well, there was 5 stones, like, oh boy, I don't know, I'll probably skip. I don't want to, it's always such a hassle to change stones on these things. Not so with this. When I want to change them, I'll simply grab this, rotate it, take the stone out, take my next stone, whatever that might be, and it's captured in there. The other clever bit that is so valuable to me is the way that he's built in these stops, so I don't overreach or run off the stone, or what this is giving me is consistency. So I can set up here on my knife blade and run the stone right to the edge. That way I maximize the stone, I get consistency, I'm not just using the center of it, wearing it out quicker, and I can come to the other extreme end and make that adjustment with the stop as well. Checking both sides and set that. Now I automatically stop and don't overextend on my sharpening stone. Setting the angle on the blade just couldn't be simpler. You rest the stone on the blade. There I've got the 940, so I'm going to want to sharpen that at about 25 degrees. So I'll just rotate this knurled nut on there till I hit my angle. Lock it down with that solid brass locking nut. And there it is. It's not going to change, deviate, it's not going anywhere. Now for sharpening a longer knife like Mrs. W's Cutco there, that's where we're going to use the double clamps. You can see here, so we've got this bar here. It's nice and wide. That way I can really get those clamps spaced apart, and that's going to hold securely for longer knives. I mean, that's something that's always been a struggle for me is trying to sharpen those big long knives, especially on some of the smaller sharpeners. I mean, it's just nigh and impossible right there. But now, I mean, you can see there that you could sharpen a really long knife there. I mean, I don't have any doubt that you could even sharpen things like big Bowie knives, or perhaps even a machete, because the throw on the arm, on the sharpening arm here, is just so long. It really does get a long, nice reach. But again, we're going to be changing the angle a little bit. So this being a kitchen knife, we're going to loosen that locking nut there, and resting the stone on the, we'll go the other way, stone right on the blade there. We're going to go down until we hit that desired angle, which is going to be, for me, I kind of like 20 degrees. 20 degrees, that's really nice for food preparation and cutting tomatoes and different things like that. So there it is, we're down to 20. Lock it off, and the only thing we have to check is make sure that we have our stop set on both ends. This being a different knife than the first one, it's just really simple. Loosen that up. Check, check. They've got O-rings on there, rubber on the stoppers, so when you come in contact with there, you get a nice soft throw there. Look at that. How I picture myself using this is I mean, I always enjoy sharpening knives, and I like to, when Mrs. W is cooking, to grab my sharpener and set it up on the bar and grab her knives and do them. It's just it's a wonderful wonderful skill and ability to have. I mean, something like this, you could a guy could have kind of a little bit of extra income coming in. You could sharpen knives for friends, or even maybe you do it commercially. I mean, I have no doubt that the machine is quality-wise would last long time. It's incredible. It's like the AK-47 of knife sharpeners. It's like the Hind helicopter. Just that overbuilt, robust attention to detail. Everywhere I look, there's just all sorts of just wonderful little details. Little machine flat top right there, and little stainless steel cover there, for no other reason than just to protect that cool, that kind of that black armor hide coating, something like you'd see like on a 1950s Royal typewriter. It's solid brass tightening nut, and even the ability to if you really want to get serious about it, to be able to adjust the angle there, if it didn't quite come right from the factory, if you really wanted to geek out on it. But for me, I mean, you could really take this to an extreme with bevels and micro bevels. I don't care about any of that. I just want a sharpener that's affordable, that I can sit down and I can get good results without having to go to school on it, or to spend 50,000 hours learning something. And for me, I'm able to sharpen these two knives like my Benchmade here. This is a knife that I've always struggled with, never been able to sharpen very well. I mean, I've even had to send my last one out to my friend, the Apostle P, which is a professional knife sharpener, to have it sharpened, because I just couldn't get the results. But look what I'm able to do. Just I mean, that's a thick knife. How about Mrs. W's there? And this knife has never been sharp since from the factory, but a push cut on printer paper like that, a big knife like that, I mean, that's something I've never been able to do. And with this sharpener, I got results, and that, who knows what's possible after you use it for a while. Just wonderful, wonderful. So what's it going to cost? Well, that's what so staggered me. You know, I'm not endorsing this for any type of financial gain. I'll be upfront with you and tell you, know, I didn't pay for this sharpener. Paul sent it to me. There was no obligation for me to review it. But you know, when I come across something like this that is such a wonderful tool and such a great value, I can't help myself. I just have to share it. But this sharpener, the basic sharpener, if you just get it as it sits here with just the one clamp, the single clamp, it's going to work for your smaller knives. It was a little over 200, I think like $220. I mean, that's less than the Edge Pro, the Apex Edge, or Edge Pro Apex. And that's, I mean, that's like a baby toy compared to this thing. I mean, it's got a plastic base on it, and you got to hold. I mean, a lot of people struggled with that sharpener. I know Nothing Fancy uses it, Cutlery Lover uses it. I mean, it's kind of the standard for sharpening. But my sister's got one. I've used it. I just never have really liked it. I mean, I never bought one. That's what I thought about it. But this is a whole nother deal. And if you want the double here, I think it was just like around $270, $269 or something like that. I'm like, good grief. This level of quality, this type of machining, I don't know. How could you do it? I don't know how you could do it, but it is it's wonderful, and it's a wonderful value. Coming out of Russia, shipping, you know, how's that going to work? I don't know. I got mine. It took, well, I don't know, probably 8-9 days. I got several emails, told me that the tracking number was coming. Lots of guys are using these. There's several reviews on the knife forums. I mean, I can't say enough about it. Great job, Paul. Whoever machined this, whoever the mind behind this, and the attention to detail and the quality of it, for under $230, $240, I don't know. I mean, that's what a knife like this costs. And how long is this going to serve you? I mean, could you pass this on to your kids? I mean, even if you just, nothing else, that'd be a cheap hobby. I mean, what's better than sharpening knives? And that's a skill that every man needs to have. And I think we all, if we were going to be honest with ourselves, say we're probably not as good at it as we'd like to be. But great job. I'll put the link to to Paul's website in the subject heading of this video. But I'm impressed. If you'd like to see part 2, where I'll actually do some sharpen a blade, I'm happy to do that. Put me in the comments if you'd like to see that, and we can do a part 2. But great job, great job. All right, well, thanks for watching. Thank you, Paul, for sending this beautiful sharpener, and we'll see you guys on the next video.